I was talking to some Hebrew Israelites, and they're complicated. Black Hebrew Israelites, in case you guys don't know. And what he said to me is Jesus Christ was not some white cracker. Oh, okay. And I went to the Catholics, and they said Jesus Christ is literally right now this white cracker. I was confused. My problem is if Jesus is literally a piece of unleavened bread, how am I supposed to believe he's risen?
So Jesus was a carpenter, but what did he make? Well, one time Jesus said, live by the sword, die by the sword. And Jesus died by a cross made out of wood. I think saints are kind of silly to pray to if you believe in an omniscient, omnipotent God. But I do like the Catholic idea that Saint Peter is in charge of if you get into heaven or not. It's just one decision given to a guy. A guy who denied Jesus 3 times. So, he's not perfect. I feel like I could trick him. He's not omniscient. It's not the Lord. It's a guy whose friend decided he should go by the rock, and he just went with it. That's the kind of dude I could hang with. The CEOs that are here are the 3 questions I ask everybody that I interview. I feel like Peter's more like that, where he's like, do you think Jesus is Lord? And you're like, yes, Jesus is Lord. He's like, do you think he rose from the dead? And I'll be like, sure, I can believe that. He's like, okay, what about genders? And there is no masculine or feminine, for we are all one in Jesus Christ. He's like, can't fault you there. Get in, pal. Do you ever wonder what the word for heaven is in the Bible? So in the New Testament, which is originally written in Greek, the word that is often used is uranos, which is the Greek word both for the sky and for the titan of the sky, which you might know better as Uranus. This all goes to prove one of my long-held theories that Catholic priests are desperately trying to get into Uranus. So I was doing mushrooms in an art museum today. There was a trans woman with me, and she was doing acid. She was just like, I'm just thinking about the internet, and all of its vast connections. And I was like, oh yeah? And then she was like, yeah, how do you use that frickin' thing? How do you use that frickin' thing? I ended up just listening to an audio recording of my Dr. Pepper poem while looking at the pictures that I've drawn for the book I'm going to put the Pepper poem in, and then drinking Dr. Pepper while hallucinating, which, as an experience I could really describe mostly as Dr. Pepper. But this is not about that. We were in the art museum, and we were talking about Jesus, who's a good friend of mine, and he was also in a bunch of the paintings, so he came up. And I've casually mentioned that you can become a virgin again in a lot of versions of Christianity. And she was like, wait, you can become a virgin again in Christianity? Jesus is a really great get-out-of-jail-free card for anything that's a social construct. Debt, or virginity, or marriage, forgiveness, guilt, jail. I guess a get-out-of-jail-free card is also a pretty good get-out-of-jail-free card for a social construct like jail. What if that's what the deal was with Mary? Mary, she's had sex with Joseph or whatever, and the angel Gabriel is like, listen, the baby that Joseph impregnated you with is, that's going to be the Son of God, Jesus Christ. He used Joseph and you to, bring about his son, but also a manifestation of himself in the flesh. And she's like, oh God, but then people are going to think that I'm a whore, and could you just do me one favor? And could I just be considered a virgin if this is going through God? And could I have been considered to always have been a virgin? And that's 14-year-olds for you, They're more concerned about their own reputation than the word becoming flesh to redeem the world. Teenagers. And an angel's not a genie. If you're the mother of God, the angel's like, yeah, sure, of course. You're the flippin' Theotokos, all right? Anything you say goes. I think a lot of miracles happen like that. They say St. Patrick got rid of all of the snakes in Ireland, but there's 2 species of legless lizard there. I think the miracle wasn't getting rid of the snakes, but reclassifying them.
Okay, we like the Catholicism stuff. Let's double down. You ever realize you said something wrong years later? You ever realize what you should have said? So there's this girl in 7th grade, Kaylee, and she was the most beautiful girl in the world because she sat at the same table as me in civics class. And that is about what it took then, and like, if you did that now with the nose piercing, that's what it takes now. You know, she wore a Paramore jacket every single day. You know, it was like the first big dance. So I said, hey, Kaylee, hey. She said, the only reason I haven't killed myself is because I'm Catholic. And the Catholics say that if you kill yourself, you go straight to hell, no questions asked. I was like, oh, okay. Well, there's a dance on Saturday, and if you're still here, do you think it didn't work out? What I should have said, this is what I realized a couple weeks ago, was actually, Kaylee, there's a loophole where if I kill you and then I repent, we're both good. But do you think before you head out, you could maybe touch it? Solved that one.
The most toxic thing I have been doing since I found Episcopal Christ. He's very cool, by the way. He's not concerned about the gay thoughts I have in Walmart. He's concerned about the stealing that I keep doing from Walmart. And part of me is like, you know, render unto Caesar what is Caesar's. Render unto Sam Walton my fucking hands. But, you know, maybe I'm doing him a favor, though. You know, maybe I'm squeezing that guy through the eye of the needle, and I'll save his soul. So the most toxic thing is, whenever someone asks me, like, oh, what's your sign? I'm like, I'm sorry, I can't tell you, I'm a Christian. Like, I want the opportunity to just have my stupid little ingrained beliefs backed up by my religion, but I don't want to do anything hateful or oppressive. And the astrology people accept their worldview as, like, de facto true, and I just decided to do the same thing back. I can't tell you my sign. I don't believe in it. What's my sign? And they're like, what are you talking about? What am I talking about? St. Augustine's Confessions. There ain't 12 kinds of dudes, and through Christ people can change. So no, astrology is clearly wrong. But when were you born? When was I born? I was born 2.5 weeks ago when I refound Jesus Christ. Even if we were still doing fake months, my sun is Kia Summer Sales Event and my rising is Toyotathon.
I was doing acid and watching The Grinch. Research, you know. And I realized what The Grinch did wrong. Right? He's trying to steal Christmas. He stole the presents. Presents aren't the meaning of Christmas. So, while I'm still on acid, I walk down to the local Catholic church and I steal from out of the manger display the baby Jesus Christ. And I go to show my mom and I say, Mom, look! I stole a Christ. I'm better than the Grinch, I'm better than God. She said, why did you do that? I was like, like I thought she'd really be on board, you know? But I said, well, in my defense, I stole him from a Catholic church. And he's the baby Jesus, so maybe he's safer with us. I'm just saying, they've still got the nailed down Jesus until they can show us that they've earned back the rights to the baby. All right, you guys have a great night. Have a good Christmas.